Phoenix Rising post-game show. That's a dub. That's a victory. That's a goal.
Max,
First one of the season. Don't matter. Let's go. It don't matter. Let's go. Let's go. Phoenix Rising.
Lucky,
1-0 victory over Oakland Roots at home. 3 points. Feeling pretty darn good. I am Max Simpson, joined by an astonished Mr. Owain Evans. How we doing, buddy?
You just chuck a water bottle at the lackey.
I
just chucked the water bottle at the lackey. I don't think he meant to hit him, but he did. So.
In his direction, may or may not have hit him. It was empty.
Did it hit you, Reese?
Oh,
I'm seeing a nod in the back.
Score sheet on Phoenix Rising's tally.
Congratulations, guys. You're watching us live as Phoenix Rising get the win and Max gets fired.
Let's go. If that's going to get me fired, should have gone a long time ago, but we're still here. And so is Phoenix Rising. It's a good time, man. It's a 1-0 victory. It's a goal that came about in the second half. We thought there was going to be something, maybe going on in the first. There's a couple chances. We're going to get into that a little bit, but lots of feelings. How are you feeling?
I think it's relief more than anything right now, right? Okay, we know going into this game, Phoenix Rising had struggled. They struggled looking for that goal. And just overall chance creation last week was a struggle. There were so many things that were just, it wasn't easy. And today they dominated that game. I don't think that it was necessarily as good a performance as you'd like because the finishing wasn't always there. And the problem is that you'll get games like this whereby if you play like that, you're not always going to find that one breakthrough, unfortunately, because the finishing really wasn't there. But the chance creation was there. That's the thing. This went back from Monterey Bay, which felt by and large as though this was a team that wasn't creating enough. There wasn't necessarily the building blocks. Here, you know what? It wasn't a million miles off. It wasn't a million miles off. No. So that's the positive at least, right? That is, the other positive is, of course, 3 points.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you play like that against most teams in terms of the creation, as long as the finishing is there, you'll do well.
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to just shout out everyone in the chat. Many of you guys joining. Appreciate it. Feels darn good after a victory post game. Hit that like button if you have not already. Shout out everyone in the chat going off. I agree. I think it really was a tale of first half of two halves, as they say. First half, like you said, lots of chances in that, first 15 minutes, really put the press on. And then we were kind of saying, man, like as they were attacking the south end, it's like, okay, we feel something's coming. And then they kind of hit that stretch from kind of about the 15th minute to about, call it 35 or so, for that 20-minute stretch where you're just thinking, where did the pressure go? The momentum kind of just got zapped out of nowhere. Yeah. And you're thinking, this is where Phoenix Rising needs to kind of go for the jugular, needs to get a goal here, because if they're not going to get a goal, we're now kind of going back to this passy.
That was the worry. That was the worry.
It's kind of how it played off. Then you kind of get out of seemingly nowhere. Oakland's back line was shaky all evening, and just the passing was very wayward. Darius Vermeulen, about the 36th, 37th minute, gets a golden opportunity. And when he misses that,
to be fair, it took him out wide. Wide. The angle wasn't great.
It did. And, we were saying in hindsight, right, your instinct, of course, you're going to want to shoot that first time. Right or wrongly, hindsight, maybe, of course, you would maybe want to have to take that touch, open your angle back up. Regardless of that, you kind of see the goal doesn't go in, and you're thinking, is it going to be that kind of night for Phoenix Rising?
Yeah.
And then in the second half, listen, Panos Armenakas, that man has been, was the best player on the
wonder
pitch.
child. Panos the wonder child.
Panos the wonder child. He was the best player on the pitch all night. Starts the attack with yet another outside the foot.
Speaking of Panos, shout out John in the chat.
Shout out John. Oh, John Armenakas.
You didn't even see that, did
John
you, Max?
Armenakas produced highlight reel is going to hit like crack, man. Oh, yes. But no, Panos Armenakas with another outside the foot pass. Wasn't even his best one of the night. Starts the attack, continues his run. And this is what we've been saying for the last couple weeks of this team. They may not get those chances on the first run where you're slashing the box. It's going to take that third run. And to Panos' credit, that's exactly what he did. He continues the run from the center circle all the way through. You just kind of watch the replay. No one picks him up. He just kind of continues to run, trotting along, but he knows when to accelerate, knows when to get in that ball. Little combination play on the left-hand side, passes it across the 6-yard box, and finally the cross goes in, the ball hits the back of the net, and you're thinking, relief.
Yeah. And, we spoke with Panos after the game, right? And I asked him about how, as you look at all the changes on this team, changing some of the wide players, changes in terms of the midfield, changes up top, and how that changes his role with the team. And he said, look, there's an element there of understanding that he's got to display the leadership, understanding that, there's also other elements to it, whereby last season there were moments where maybe he could kind of step back that little bit and, kind of expect that your Danny Trejos and your Manuel ALLCITY is going to be in the right places, and he's kind of just setting them up more than everything. Whereas this year, he's having to take maybe a little bit more of a rounded role and find ways to contribute in other ways beyond just what he was doing last year. And I think today, again, there was just a very good performance from him. We saw it in some of the ways he was spraying the ball out. We saw it in his link-up play with Edgardo, particularly. I think we're starting to see that coming on a little bit better. There was still some elements of that whole kind of build-up that were missing, maybe. But it wasn't, I don't think, between those two, that link there and being able to pick out those runs. The fact the ball was getting to Panos, and Panos is then looking straight out and sees Edgardo making the run and gets the ball to him, and was doing that very, very consistently this game. And then, of course, the goal. He takes it well. He makes the right run to get in there. And he embarrasses himself on the goal celebration. Sorry, Panos, you've got to do better on that one, mate. Everything else about his performance, I don't have anything to knock. But that celebration, come on now.
Man.
You can do better. You can do better. We know you can do better.
Oh, man. Goodness. It was, I think the goal was a product of this team was able to get into threatening positions really for much of the night. I think where we did not see that in the first two games, Rising was able to get down the end line, was able to whip in the crosses. The issue was in the first half, it was just really the wrong crosses. It was either right to the keeper, too close within that 6-yard box, or aerial crosses, which really wasn't finding head. I think what we were kind of clamoring for was being able to drive down the end line, but having a bit of the variety. It's not always needing to go across the 6. It's being able to find that trailing run, either top of the box, middle of the box, or mix it back up. And granted, while this one went across the 6, I think it was coming due to the fact that Rising towards the end of the first half started kind of threatening with those variety of runs. It did come, those first runs, those second runs. And that's what opens this game up. I think you're going to see a lot more of those goals this season, where it's maybe not always going to be that number 9 finishing like we were so accustomed to seeing last season. It might be that trailing midfielder, that trailing number 10, other wingers getting involved, because you have so much space occupied by those talented number 10, Mr. Panos Armenakas, that you have on the field.
Yeah, indeed. And we're going with him as a player of the match, are we?
Oh, is there even a question? Even without the goal, even before the goal, I think, the way that he was kind of orchestrating the midfield, kind of orchestrating the passing game, he really was that guy who was pulling the strings. But the goal all but solidified. It was Panos Armenakas is your man of the match. 1 goal, silky passes, elite vision.
And of course, we got that picture up there as well, the classic from the trophy celebration.
That's the classic.
That's just iconic, this man.
A poor gritty, as kids say, but hey, it's plenty of time to make up for that. Really good performance overall. It's just something like we've known that this player has his talent, and he's shown it throughout last season when he got acquired. And this was just one of those where when you kind of felt early on, like 5 minutes in, some of the passes he's making, some of the touches he's having, the dribbling, you just kind of felt like, oh, this is like a Panos takeover game. Yeah.
No, it did. It felt like that. And again, this is a guy who we know what he's capable of. We've I think said it as well this year, in that you look at where he is age-wise, and I think this is the year where he really has to stand out. This is the year where he really has to show, not just what his promise is, but what his output's going to be this year.
Yep.
And I think that if he can have more games like this, he's really giving himself a good chance to advance his career from here and show that he can play at a higher level. Again, we know the promise has been there. Now he's getting this key run of games. Now he's a key player in this team. And knowing where he is age-wise, I think this is the season he really has to step up. And again, I think if he puts in more performances like this, he's definitely going to make a case for himself.
Absolutely. See Marlon in the chat. Yes, sir. Number 21. See BJ in the chat. A key tonight was Rising getting off on the front foot early. Absolutely. It definitely felt that way, especially, again, in those first 15 minutes, carried over in the second half. Here's the thing that we kind of picked up even in the first and second games of the season is it's not perfect, it's not pretty, and there are mistakes.
Yep.
But for who is playing in the back line and just the injuries that this team has dealt with, another solid performance for the defense. And this is also, I'll pose this to the chat. When was the last time that you can think of where Phoenix Rising held a 1-0 lead, and not just for we're talking 5 minutes or stave off the game, where they had a 1-0 lead for essentially an entire half, and they held it, and not just held it with, Oakland didn't score. There was never a threat really at any point in the second half.
How many shots on target?
We coughed it up or anything.
How many shots on target for Oakland? Yes,
None.
No shots on target.
0.
All right.
Zilch.
So what does that
Nada.
tell you? No shots on target. No hit woodwork. One big chance in the game.
Let's bring up the by the numbers as we're talking through this. But it just goes to show this was a professional performance by this defense.
0.37 XG.
Professional performance by this defense. XG 1.15 Phoenix Rising, 0.37 to Oakland Roots, 53% possession of 47. Again, 10 shots for Rising, 7 for Oakland, but that's the key. 6 of those 10 shots are on target for Rising. 0 of those shots are on target for Oakland Roots. You saw guys getting in the way, throwing their bodies in the way, blocking shots, but really never allowing those threats and opportunities. And again, where we have seen Phoenix Rising last season, again, it's the third game, so I'm not trying to get hyperbolic, but we've seen this team last season, they've let in equalizers. You did not feel that, ease or, yes, we're going to be able to see the game out with a 1-0 lead for an entire second half. And again, today, while that's kind of a lack of threat in some ways to Oakland, there was nothing.
But let's take it further. Let's take it further here and say this, right? When you actually look at some of the more detailed numbers here, okay? You look at passes in the opposition half, 209 for Oakland to 215 for Rising. Not that much of a difference. You look at final third entries, 48 final third entries for Oakland, 47 for Rising. It's actually moving into the final third more often. But they don't do anything with it when they get there. The touches in opposition box, 10 for Oakland to 23 for Rising. When Rising advanced the ball up there, they were creating something with it. Oakland, by and large, couldn't find ways to create anything with this Phoenix Rising back line. And when you're getting those kind of numbers in terms of how many touches you get in the opposition box, no wonder you're not ultimately creating very much.
100%. No, seeing Reese's comment, this is actually what we were chatting about on the end line. When was the last time Phoenix Rising had that very convincing see-out performance? He's kind of referencing either Greenville in the Open Cup last year or Sacramento away in 2022. Seeing Andrew in the chat, wish we were more aggressive in the second half. Felt like they were waiting for the whole whistle to blow already and almost let Oakland back in. See, that's where I think we disagree. There was really not a point, regardless of the 0 shots on target, didn't really get pushed back. Oakland was just not really a threat. And that was just good, good clearances by Phoenix Rising, being able to kind of have that breath and say, hey, being able to pass out convincingly, take the fouls where they need to, eat up that time. Very, very professional performance by a kind of makeshift defense that looks incredibly different from the one that ended the season last year to starting this year. Right, Scott in the chat, great point. I think that's the most possession Oakland has had for this season. Yes, they were at 30 and 20 or something for the first 2 matches respectively. Now we're at, they get 50% possession, but doesn't lead to much because, again, it's that higher back line that we were looking at Rising for playing, and it did them a darn well bit of good.
It did. It did. I think overall, look, it was just a good overall step in the right direction. Yeah. This game was night and day compared to Monterey Bay. Not even comparable. Yeah. This one, look, again, was it at the end of the day the most convincing win you've seen? Possibly not, right? But if you're talking about a step in the right direction, again, this is a project, right? And this is a key thing. I said this how many times these past couple of weeks, that getting a win in these first few games before that New Mexico game next week is critical. It is critical to not make that have quite as much pressure, because the pressure you go into playing a team that you detest at home in the 4th game of the season, if you haven't won already at that point, that's a lot.
Yeah.
They've now at least relieved a little bit of that pressure.
Yeah. Listen, we understand it's the 3rd game in the season. We understand this is a match. But again, said it in the midweek. Rising has 3 points from their first 3 matches this season. They had 2 from their first 3 matches last season. It just sounds a lot worse given the state of the performances from the last 2 weeks, given that they were losses, and given that last season there really weren't expectations on this team. And now there are. It's all perspective. It's all about where they go. But again, we said that A, to your point, they get a win before New Mexico, massive for the Spirits, and B, this team is only going to get healthier. They're only going to get more cohesive, and these things will start to click more and more. This was an indicative performance of guys who are rising to the occasion, knowing what was at stake, and they delivered.
Yep.
Well, who also delivers? Friends at Circle K. Friends at Circle K, they are absolutely delivering every time. There's one right over there. I can essentially see it from here. Get a nice cold Polar Pop. Get to yes, you see. Yes, over.
I filled up in Circle K on the way here.
I mean, as you should.
Yeah,
as you should. Talking to Saul Bookman over at the Tea Party where I stopped before him. He got the Circle K Easy Pay debit card, saved 30 cents per gallon on his card. You can join the Inner Circle for free and save 25 cents a gallon for your first 5 fills to start off. Also get those cold fountain drinks, those Polar Pops, snacks, everything like that. Free slices of pizza when you can't have pretzels at Rising's post game, because I miss our pretzel concessions. You can go to Circle K, get that. Yes, shout out. You can get that slice of pizza at
shout out Adman, by the way. He's ad-libbing these completely. He's got no script in front of him.
Don't need it. It's in my blood. Circle K can be in your not your blood, in your system. Go to Circle K, download their Circle program. Again, all you need is a phone number, terms and conditions that apply at participating locations. See store for details. Also,
Max just has an IV drip linked up to the Polar Pop machine right now.
I mean, it's pretty much
he
there.
does pretty much.
It's pretty much there. And when my IV drip is on the Polar Pop machine, I then wander over, not on the other side of the counter, but other side of the counter, horizontally. I'm not jumping the counter and getting Arizona Lottery over there, over one of those. Yeah, because I'm going and getting some Arizona Lottery scratcher tickets. I'm going to play their AZ Adventure program. Super easy. You can play 3 iconic landscapes: Monument Valley, Picacho Peak, or Camelback Mountain. Very easy. Scratch them off for a chance to win $500,000.
Quick shout out as well, actually. Mandy, quick Arizona Lottery story.
Did say she won.
Mandy won money. Mandy won money.
And you know what she said? She's going to take that money, the winnings, and invest it right back into
the General strikes again. Let's go.
The General is playing Arizona Lottery. You can play Arizona Lottery too. Go to one of their 10 geolocated adventures. Check in at that location for a chance to win $1 million. Super easy to do. Just go to azadventure.com. Have fun. You help out as well by giving back to Arizona recreation and stuff like that. So super awesome. Go to Arizona Lottery. Again, azadventure.com. All righty. We talked a bit about high performers.
Yeah, we did.
Without question. I have a couple in mind who also, I think, really deserve some good attention.
I'll give one, first of all. I'll shout him out because we have been picking on this midfield quite a bit this season.
Yes.
I will shout out Jose Andres Hernandez for tonight's performance.
Yes. You have a nice stat, don't you?
I do. This man, I feel his passing was more varied today. You look at the maps and see what he was doing. There's a lot more to it. I feel as though he's doing a lot more off the ball as well. But most importantly, you want to talk about him as someone who normally does have a pretty good passing accuracy. Well, tonight, he attempted 50 passes and only misplaced one of them for a 98% passing accuracy. Through the goal, he hadn't misplaced a pass.
Yeah.
This man held onto that ball constantly. And that's important. And again, just seeing a little bit more variety in the passes, I think, today. We've often criticized him as being very much a guy who looks sideways, looks backwards, doesn't always look for forward balls. There were some forward balls mixed in more with it today. I think we saw an improvement from him today. I think he should be happy with that performance. And I think he showed that, look, we know he cares about this team.
Yeah.
We know this means more to him because he is from here. And I think we saw one of the better Jose Andres Hernandez performances that we have seen from him in a Phoenix Rising shirt tonight.
Absolutely. Again, guy who is always going to have a very high percentage pass completion rate. But yes, to your point, only missing one up until that point. Absolutely fantastic. And then to your point, a little bit more varied. I do like this random comment from Brett, by the way. Biggest question now is what track will be on Panos' hype video. Got to be a banger after that performance. John, if you're still in the chat, give us a little preview, a little taste of what that track is going to be. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm also gonna shout out. Can we shout out the two wing backs here? In terms of just chances created, Edgardo Rito, 3 chances created.
Yeah.
Juan Carlos Azocar, 2 chances created, right? The top 2 chance creators on this team. Okay? The goal coming via Azocar as well. There's so much involved in that goal as well. Just all the build-up for all those passes just throughout the entire build-up to it. But again, those wing-backs, I think, were dangerous today. They created something. Rito in particular, I think we just saw so much more from him in terms of being found. There's still a little bit on the end of it, right? There's still a little bit that comes in terms of just, making sure that maybe you've got the right people in the right places. Okay, that's not always though on those wing backs. Sometimes it's just the fact that you've got people who aren't making the runs quite as quickly as they should be, or you're getting almost the wrong people in the wrong places, kind of stuff. It happens. But I feel as though the wing backs today put in a really, really solid performance.
Yep. See Marlon in chat. Rito getting a goal with the Bart Simpson avatar. My people, what's up? Absolutely getting a goal. I mean, right? He kind of had that. We're not going to say a sitter, but we're going to say he kicked a field goal. He skied it over an open goal. But you know what? Those are going to come. The chances are very much there. You kind of, the wingbacks, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I want to highlight specifically. I think they both had phenomenal performances. But Juan Carlos Azocar in particular, I think that when he has come on, especially in the first match of the season, was an absolute difference maker. And I think I love when he brings that energy off the bench. But at this point, I'm like, I want to see him starting. And this is no slight at Gabby. I think he does a very good shift, and I think he very much gives you consistent performances. But something about the way Juan Carlos Azocar's moving, being able to drive inside, being able to, it's not all about just hugging the touchline. He's able to had a little bit of interplay with Gallardo, where sometimes Gallardo would be outside wide and Azocar would kind of take up his number 10 position. I love his movement. I love how vertical and forward thinking he is. And whenever he's in the match, even if he's not necessarily getting a shot off, it is a progressive forward movement. And I think the nice thing here is we've already seen on the right-hand side where you have Rito and Panos on that side overloading it. The defense cannot focus in on one guy. There leaves those opportunities. Well, then conversely on the other side, when you have Azocar doing his thing, you can't just leave one-on-one with him. That either opens up the wing back on his side or it's just going to cause chaos.
Yeah. I still think there's some work to be done in terms of what you're doing with, obviously you have Panos on the one side. Who do you have on the other side, right? You see Erickson Gallardo today. I understand the move because I do think that you weren't necessarily getting enough from Fede Varela. I understand that. I'm not sure if this is the answer. We know what Erickson Gallardo is best at. Erickson Gallardo is best at being a nuisance sub, right?
Yep.
And that sounds bad, but realistically, you're asking for someone who is pacey. They're coming up against tired legs.
Not a bad trade.
And at that point, that's someone who really can absolutely just terrify a defense. When you come in late, they're tiring, and you bring out a speed demon.
Yep.
That's hard. That's hard to deal with. And yes, Michael was moaning about Gallardo. At halftime, I heard enough of it.
He was crying.
This man came down to the front of the south end screaming that Gallardo is useless. And I'm not going to go that far, but I understand the fact that, again, he's got a role on this team, and I'm not sure it's starting. I think he can be really, really effective off the bench, and it begs the question again as to quite what you're doing there. Because I understand people are a little bit nervy about how did you replace this player, how do you replace that player. I still think if you're not in a position whereby maybe you're playing Formella as a 10 and you've got Cabral up top, the real question to me is who did you replace Danny Trejo with? Yeah. And as you build that up and see, just positionally, who's filling that role that Danny Trejo played when you had a target 9 on there? Can Gallardo do it constantly? Can Fede do it constantly? We haven't seen it from Fede consistently since arriving. And Gallardo, again, is someone I think we've seen his best performances we've seen for this club come off the bench.
Agreed.
So, I don't know. There's still a question there. That's one probably to explore a little bit more at a later time, but it's a question I think that's still hanging around at least.
It is, and I mean, as we mentioned, right? Cabral, he's able to come back, kind of get more into the mix. Maybe Darius kind of takes up that position. This more or less, hopefully, again, everything being equal, maybe it doesn't solve itself, but it at least gives you a bit more consistency. But as we know, it's not like you're always going to get your best starting 11 due to injury, due to fitness, whatever it is. This is why it's going to be a work in progress as it is. Also, just shout out everyone. We got over 30 people in the chat. Make sure to hit that like button. And dare I say it, who wants to be the first to send us a super chat? I'm just going to throw that. I'm just going to dangle that out there. If anyone wants to, feel free to go ahead.
Max, I hit any change. Any change, please.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. You don't have to, but if you did, no big deal. But if you did,
Adman works for tips.
I do. Oh, listen. No amount is too small because I can take that bad boy and I can go on down. Spend out some OGs brands. They were out there at the tea party. For those of you who were at Dobson Ranch earlier today, take them out. Take some OGs brands if you are 21 years or older. Go to the local dispensary. Find them at ogsbrands.com. And you can get, the creams, the fruits, sativas, the indicas, the sleep edition, the minis, the big OGs, pegs, RSO, whatever you fancy, whatever tickles your fancy. You can take that spare change, go on over to a local dispensary, check out OG's Brands on all socials at OG's Brands. Again, of course, find them online at ogsbrands.com. They're absolutely phenomenal. Just rumor has it may have ascertained a little bag of the minis, the creams. So I'm going to be very excited about that. Also, check out our friends at Valley Taproom. Valley Taproom. You can get some Four Peaks there, as you know, but they got 2 locations now. They got their Gilbert location and their Queen Creek location, where you can get, Four Peaks beers, you can get wine, you can get their slushy machine, which is alcoholic. They got a nice little patio, a nice little garage thing that goes up, and you can sit inside, outside, even though it's like the, inside, outside, and the air goes through and blah, blah, blah. It's all kind of the same.
It goes through.
We're talking about the dynamics of garages out here. That's what Valley Taproom has.
They got lots of beer, though. That's the most important thing. And good beer
right.
at that. Good beer at that.
You're darn right. Check them out at valleytaproom.com and on Instagram at Valley Taproom. Scott in the chat. Well, Max didn't see that $1,000 bet slip away in the dying minutes. We don't bring that up. We're still sore. We still have. You know what?
It's okay,
it's okay.
Reese, can you get a tissue for my man, please?
Marlon said, I think Max stole my OG. No, I don't steal. I've bought my OGs.
Hey, look at that. Would you see Phoenix Rising is given man of the match to Panos Armenakas?
Well, there we go.
Would you believe it? Would you believe it? And it's okay, Max. Max, just for the bet. It's okay.
It's not for the bet. I don't.
Okay. We can't wipe his eyes.
I'm already done.
Are you sure? Are you sure? It's okay, buddy.
It's old news.
You can let it out.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
This is a welcoming space. This is a forgiving space.
If I didn't shed a tear on my live tattooing, I'm not going to do it now.
Well, we did have to wipe your eyes during that.
To be fair, someone did blow my nose. It was actually really relieving.
They did. No, you mentioned that, yeah. Tell you what, do you want to play a game of what a great night it is when Phoenix Rising win and another team lose?
I like that game.
I hear that they're getting ready for next week.
Oh, are they now?
Did you hear that? Yeah, I hear that the Invasion didn't make it to Charleston.
Oh no, they lost.
They lost 4-0.
4-0.
And guess what? Guess what? As well, just to really get them into the mood for it, 2 of the 4 goals were scored by former Phoenix Rising players. Arturo Rodriguez with 1 and Jackson Conway with a 90th minute strike. The famous Jackson Conway.
What a blow.
What a player.
What a blow.
Remember when he was on the PHNX Rising podcast?
The final blow.
Oh, yeah.
To New Mexico's result tonight.
Well, it's... Oh, what a shame. What a shame.
Pourquoi?
Poor old New Mexico. Poor New Mexico. Pourquoi? Oh, dear. How sad.
It's very sad.
How sad. Wow. Do you think they're going to do better than that next week? You're not going to be here, are you, Max?
I mean,
you're leaving me again.
I am. I'm going to be out of town on business. They're sending me to LA. Can I do any recon while I'm out there?
Can you do what?
Should I do some recon while I'm out there in LA?
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll make it a Discord thing. Yeah, are they going to do better than losing by 4 goals? Well, guess we'll see. But
we'll see.
It's a low bar.
Low bar.
Low bar indeed. Indeed.
No other real
Gosh.
batterings like that either today. That's the thing. They were the exception. Most of the other games were somewhat close, maybe 2 goals in it. But
yeah,
no, they got battered.
yeah. As we're kind of talking through, I'm going to ask you. I'm curious to hear from the chat as well. It's probably going to get further broken down, and I'm not trying to look for any snap decisions, but it's third match of the season. Do we feel this is an indicative of, hey, turning the corner, some things were clicking, and we're kind of on a good track? Is this maybe an anomaly? Is it the weakened opponent? What do we make of this match? Why did we win 1-0 today?
If you ask Panos, it's mentality. He said, look, it's a similar position to where they were last year. This team is one of, if not the best team in the league. And it comes down to, do they show up and play like it? Mm-hmm. Because no one's going to give them anything. And teams like Monterey Bay, right, who there were no real expectations for, but ultimately came out and really achieved something in that last game. And I see his point here. I think they've got to come out. They come out with confidence. They come out with just a belief, and they play with that kind of a swagger of being one of the best teams in the league, and the results come. And I think we saw a movement towards that today.
Yeah.
Again, not everything went their way. Not everything went right. There's still some work to be done. The finishing does probably need to be better. There are still certain elements of things that you might want to work on during the build-up play here. But ultimately, it was, I think, just a decent performance today.
Scott,
we got it.
From
Reese's medical from the head injury he suffered at the hands of Max's water bottle.
There was nothing ever captured on camera. We don't know what happened. It's still a mystery. Scott, thank you for the 49 super chat.
Are we going that way route here now, Max?
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. I mean, we can give it to we'll give it to Reese. There's no injury here. These hands don't injure.
The PHNX Rising injury report will be coming out on Tuesday before the show.
Poor Reese and his giant head gets a concussion. I think it's something to build on. See how Edward in the chat, hey, we're fine. It's gonna keep on getting better. Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing here is when we saw the starting lineup drop, I liked what I saw in terms of the changes. I like getting Formella in the mix, still not in the best position, but given where, what availability and everything like that makes sense. To me, Azocar playing in that position, I really liked. I liked him getting the start again.
Yeah.
We already heard the energy he brought. And, I think to your point, it is going to be for the moment that kind of that number 10 role opposite of Panos, who it's going to be, what that's going to look like. I did think Gallardo, in a way, was a bit of an upgrade against Varela, but to me, it's kind of like for like. There's not a big differentiator there. So I was encouraged by that. I think that really did make a difference. It was a bit of a spark. And ultimately, at some point, it's just, you got to take chances. You
do. Just like New Mexico fans have to actually sell those seats on the bus. Last I looked, there were 24 I could have bought. What are you doing, boys? You coming or no? I thought you were having an invasion. All right.
Oh, man. I think
we're writing the team talk for him at this point, but I don't really care. Let's do it. I
love that New Mexico is now watching this podcast. It's interesting because I think when I, kind of again in retrospect after this, this match is over, I think in the first half there could have been a different tale where Phoenix Rising, they stay true to their structure of they'll press with their one high man and all that stuff. And, it's very much by where they are, which third of the field, whether it's left, middle, or right. And yet I feel due to the shakiness of Oakland's back line, if they were able to dial the pressure a bit, you might have seen a couple more goals. We don't know.
Maybe.
We'll never know. I think the thing is, there are times where you need to risk it a bit further to kind of go for that kill shot. Like I mentioned earlier, that could have been done possibly by a bit higher pressing. They were able to get the goal. I just want to see them bring at least the same intensity, bring a little bit more against teams where you're going to have to force the issue. And this is going to be different because Oakland, right, we saw in previous matches, they concede possession, they drop deep, they are sloppy in the back. Not every opponent is going to be that way.
No, they're not.
So
they're not.
even though I'm not going to say this is an anomaly, this very well could be a, hey, things are moving up, way to turn the corner, things are galvanizing in that way. You need to be able to put teams under when you have that momentum.
Oh,
and that's
yeah,
the big thing that I want to keep seeing from this team.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Right.
It's been a time, man.
It has been. You know what? I'm gonna push an idea here, Max. I hear Max is gonna lead the charge on this one. Actually, you know, he's not going off to wherever he's going next week. Max is gonna lead the charge on this one. Buy up the last 24 tickets and take over their bus.
Wait, what?
You're gonna fly over to Albuquerque, Max.
Why would you punish
You're gonna
me?
buy the 24 tickets on the bus and just fill it with Rising fans.
Why would I subject Rising fans to that?
Reese is nodding. Yeah, well, it's not subjecting. It's taking away seats from New Mexico fans.
I don't know if that bus
and taking over their bus.
I don't know if
take over their bus.
That bus is not going for
Take
it.
over their bus, Max.
You can't just say the
You
same
want
thing.
to take over their bus, don't you, Max?
I have zero desire.
You really want to take over their bus. You know what? A better idea would be just to tell them they can't bring their little flags into the stadium.
That'd be a shame.
Make them toss them outside the gates.
That'd be a shame. If
That'd
that
be great,
happened.
wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be great?
The polka dots.
Lackey's giving me a nod. I need that, he says. I need that. I think they should just ban flags in this little section over here. I don't know. What do you think?
It's an idea.
I think it'd be a great idea. You know, I don't think they submitted it in the 48-hour window so far, have they? You know, remember they got to submit those for. I saw a tweet about that earlier this week. Yeah,
They did.
yeah, fair. They better do it, eh?
Oh man. Well, getting the New Mexico slander aside, is there anything else we'd like to talk about from this match tonight?
We can't do more New Mexico slander.
Of course we can, but I mean,
Max, you got to get it out your system, mate. You're not going to be here.
I mean,
You got to get it out of the system now. Come on. What do you think about New Mexico United? What do you think about Albuquerque?
oh gosh. I mean, it's probably this is a vacation for them. This is like the best time of the year for them.
I mean, yeah, if I lived in Albuquerque, I'd want to get out of there as well.
To leave. It's a
I know.
It's a one-way bus. Don't come back.
Don't
Don't go back. Save yourselves. Oh man. Oh man.
You know what would be funny? If their buses took them to Wild Horse Pass. I think they should. Don't you think, Reese? Yeah.
Something. Friends at Gila River.
It is closest to New Mexico than here.
It's a good time at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Our friends there. But yeah, it'd be something. Maybe they didn't get the
old
coordinates.
stadium.
Yeah, maybe they didn't get the update coordinates.
Mm.
Oh boy. Well, we'll see. We'll be sharing thoughts within the Discord, on the Twitter, and all that stuff. But for now, you guys know it's been a fun time. First dub of the season, first goal of the season. You can follow us on PH.
Send their bus to Cashman Field instead, says Albert. Also, actually, hang on, mate. We got to address the elephant in the room here, which is that the chat has started. Max is buying pretzels.
Did the chat, or was that just Reese?
No, the chat was doing it. When you go further up and you get where else was there? Heard Max is going to be buying everyone pretzels this year,
not
says
the chat,
Brett.
it's Reese.
Max
and Brett.
buys pretzels.
There are
says
two
Brett.
people. It is two people.
I guarantee you there were more
It is two
further
people.
up.
Wait, let me end the stream because this is now going to get worse.
Max is buying pretzels.
No, appreciate everyone. You can follow us at PHNX__ rising because double the underscore.
Double the Max is buying pretzels.
This is, why do I
Max is buying pretzels.
What?
There we go. Damon, producer Damon. Shout out, producer
Get
Damon.
out of here, Damon.
Just thought that he'd add that there. Max is buying
No one
pretzels.
asked, and he's sending the stupid Owen voice, and he's cackling in his stupid Damon voice right now.
Did someone say pretzel, says Marlon? Yum, pretzel, says Albert. Right on, Max. Double the pretzels. Max is here like, I thought I got past this. I thought I was done with this. I did the tattoo. Why are you doing this to me? This is a man questioning his life choices, and the life choices have led him to Max. You're buying pretzels,
My
man.
life choice is showing on this up on this podcast 2 to 3 times every week.
Max is going to become a pretzel soon, says BJ. Show pretzels, says Edward.
I don't even want to know what that means. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm Max David Simpson. You can follow Owen on Twitter at OJEvans18. Goodness. You can
follow the lackey.
Sure. Yeah. You can follow him wherever he is. You can follow.
Well, you can plug the lackey.
can plug himself with pretzels. You can follow him at
Why are we taking shots at this guy?
Oh no, you can follow him at Reese11 _
Reese11 _ there we go.
You can follow Damon Dog at Damon Dog with DAGG. He can eat a pretzel too, for all I care. And appreciate everyone joining us. First win, man, feels great. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. It's been a fun time. It's a beautiful game,
but it's way more beautiful when Max is buying pretzels.
Win a goal.
We all silly like the mayor.